Indeed. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gents, this concludes our May 2nd, 2022 Board of Health meeting. We will now return to our regular meeting. At this time, we will open our invitation to audience, and I just want to read, before we begin, one of the rules that is always a good reminder to have. That's one of our council rules, Rule 4-106, Order and Decorum. The presiding officer of the County Council shall preserve order and decorum during each meeting or session of the County Council. The presiding officer shall have general supervision of the County Council chambers and over each corridor adjacent to the County Council chambers. Visual demonstrations such as waving placards, signs, balloons, or banners are prohibited in the chamber. Any person making personal, defamatory, or profane remarks or who willfully utters loud, threatening, or abusive language which disturbs the orderly conduct of a session of the County Council shall be called to order by the chair. The chair may seek removal of any individual who refuses to abide by the provisions of this section. In case of a disturbance or disorderly conduct in the County Council chambers, the presiding officer may order such place to be cleared. And thank you for taking that little reminder. At this time, we will open our invitation to audience. Madam Secretary, do we have any comments or communications on subjects not included in the printed agenda received from members of the public?
No, Madam Chair, we did not receive anything ahead of time.
Thank you. We did not have anyone sign up online before this meeting for this part of our meeting. However, if there is anyone here who wishes to speak on a subject not included in the printed agenda, please come up to the table and state your name and address for the record. All right, and I don't know if either of you would like to go first. You kind of had a tie at the table, so. Thank you. State your name and address for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Yes, David Dull, Servant Park, Maryland, 21146, Vice Chairman, Libertarian Party of Maryland. So I will be here less frequently. 2 minutes, I got like 2 things to say. So cause of death from COVID, we should put an asterisk next to that because, you know, if you're dying of something else and then you also have COVID, we're not really sure if those numbers are right, so maybe we should take a second look. Vaccinations, testing, masking, treatment, but nothing about eating healthy until after we stopped talking about COVID, even though 76% of people who were hospitalized apparently were obese. Masks, the masks changed. I do believe that according to the CDC, the regulation, I had the mask. Anyway, the N95 masks have been proven to stop the spread of the virus, but the other masks that everybody has been wearing the whole time were not. And I believe that the CDC said that before we even knew that COVID existed. People don't trust the treatment. Well, maybe that's because we were constantly being told that monoclonal antibodies and ivermectin were evil and bad and were never going to work. And, oh, my God, it's horse tranquilizer. And, you know, now my doctor, when I went to the ER, was telling me to take it. Nobody died, or we didn't see a mass death at the homeless shelters, even though a lot of these people weren't vaccinated. And gun violence, young black males are dying. I know Republicans, excuse me, I don't mean to attack you, but some people might say, well, you know, that proves a certain issue. Maybe we should look at ending the war on drugs, because maybe the reason why people are killing each other in the city is because over drug turf. So if we just reversed the 50 years of Democrat Jim Crow drug laws, we could solve the problem with gun violence in the cities. I really don't like the idea of the government coming in and grabbing my kids before they're in kindergarten. But that's another subject. So good thing, oh man. We'll have to do, Ms. Picker, we'll have to talk later.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Otetto, 2 minutes, state your name and address, and you have the floor.
Philip Otetto, Poplar Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland. Congratulations on passing the shiny, impressive turd of a bill that was 1622 to form a police accountability board. This was a once-in-a-generation opportunity for us to get some police accountability, and boy, did you pass a turd of a bill. You created the worst possible scenario, a PAB that gives the illusion of transparency, but with no actual accountability. How does it feel? I know the satisfaction and relief of passing an impressive turd. You got it passed with the labor and discomfort that comes with passing a giant turd, and then thought you could flush it and move on. However, what you don't understand is that this was no ordinary turd. Unlike many of the bills you passed, this turd is going to come back and haunt you. When you lay a turd, it stinks. I hope the stench from this bill haunts you for the rest of your life until you fully understand how much you're betraying the most marginalized people in our communities, and you work to right the injustices you're allowing to continue to be perpetuated. None of you batted an eye when Chief Awad said, quote, "We believe in transparency and accountability to ourselves," end quote. Are you serious? Please think about that statement some more and how problematic it is. You have the audacity to ignore all of the black and marginalized voices from local communities that came and testified in the past weeks and pass a powerless PAB bill that could have meaningfully improved justice for black and marginalized communities and hold accountable one of the primary historic tools of white supremacy. And then the very next meeting you take up and will probably pass this performative resolution condemning all acts of racism and the discrimination and intolerance depriving of human rights, which does nothing for people, and that the police have been a chief perpetrator of over the years, and there's been unaccountable to the communities they serve. If you voted against amendments like the one that would have allowed people with past convictions serve on the PAB, and tonight you vote for the resolution against racism, you have no self-awareness and no shame. I hope you all take a long, hard look in the mirror tonight and think deeply about your role in upholding white supremacy. I'm not counting on that based on what I've seen from you. Whenever you smell crap, just know it's this bill and the harm you've caused haunting you. I'm disappointed but not surprised. FYI, when you pass a whopper of a turd, the stench lingers, and it can stop things up for you a bit. See you in the streets and on the campaign trail.
Thank you very much. This panel is dismissed. If there is anyone else who would like to come down and share their thoughts with the council at this time, you are welcome to do so. All right. In that case, the invitation to audience is now closed. Is there any item any council member would like to place on the agenda? All right. May I have a motion that the partial reading of any bill, resolution, amendment to a bill or resolution, or minutes constitutes the reading of the whole?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Madam Secretary, please read the minutes of April 18th, 2022.
The meeting was called to order at 7 p.m. by Ms. Rodvian, followed by the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Ms. Hare. The meeting was held in the County Council Chambers, Arundel Center, Annapolis, Maryland. There were approximately 75 persons in the audience.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of April 18th, 2022?
Motion to approve, Allison Pickard.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. The minutes of April 18th, 2022 stand approved as read. Madam Secretary, please read the titles of any bills to be introduced this evening.
Bill number 4922, an ordinance concerning finance, taxation, and budget, special community benefit districts tax. Bill number 5022, an ordinance concerning finance, taxation, and budget, revenue reserve fund. Bill number 5122, an ordinance concerning personnel, classified service, exempt service. Bill number 5222, an ordinance concerning personnel, positions in the classified service, positions in the exempt service. Bill number 5322, an ordinance concerning planning and development, master plan for water supply and sewerage systems.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please read the titles of any resolutions to be introduced this evening.
There are no resolutions to be introduced this evening, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. At this time, we will move on to Bill number 31-22. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 31-22.
Bill number 3122, an ordinance concerning zoning, BRAC mixed-use development.
Thank you. This is Ms. Lacey and Mr. Pruski's bill. You may each make a statement if you like.
Mr. Pruski is going to go first.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, could you please put the slide on the screen while I'm talking, and then you can remove it. But I think it's 1 second, everyone. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm a co-sponsor on this bill, and I wanted to highlight a few facts and clarify some misinformation that's being put out there, and also explain why this bill is being put forward. What you see on the screen is Fort George G. Mee, along with the National Security Agency. It is bordered by I-295 in the west, the BWI Parkway, 175 north, 32 Maryland, and 198 south. There are 129 agencies that serve on the base. If you look at the green sector in that area, there was close to 1 million square feet that is new mission facility that's been added over the past few years. And I'm going to cite the county executive's letter, obviously, that was sent out because it kind of matches what's there. Of course, due to the mission at the base, you don't get hard data for a variety of reasons. But with the office space, 3,000 people will be joining us in this upcoming year, another 3,000 the next year, another 3,000 in 2026, and an additional 3,000 in 2028. I am only sharing with you what is publicly on base. There's additional data, which I'm not going to take the time to go through about the contractual basis that comes with the information here. But I want to highlight some of those things about what I just said. And to be clear, the base is not going to go back on bringing people. They're coming. So for those that have the misconception or that's put out there that these folks are not coming, they are arriving. Some of them are starting arriving now, and they're there. But a couple of things, I had people email me that this plan supersedes the Odenton Town Master Plan. That is not true. The Odenton Master Plan is under review right now and is currently there. Fort Meade is going to continue to grow, and I gave you numbers that, again, does not include the additional folks that will be added with those families. We have no authority over zoning on base. We've learned that since BRAC in 2010, that any discussion or occurrence that goes on base with employment or zoning that occurs is actually done by the federal government. So we have no choice. So obviously, if they say they're going to add employees, they are coming again, and I think it's important to recognize that. I want to acknowledge that there's been challenges, and there's also been benefits with Fort Meade. Certainly, the folks that live in many of our neighborhoods have had the benefit of good paying jobs and having the economy going on, but it's also brought some challenges with traffic, schools, and infrastructure. And one of the things that I'm proud of with the county executive's budget, and certainly hopefully in the next state budgets, that we will continue to improve our roads and infrastructure to go along with the continued growth. Notice what I said, continued. This is not something that's going to stop, it's going to continue. Also, I often hear that people can work and just live in another county and drive to Fort Meade. Well, the last I checked during COVID, if you ask employees that work at Fort Meade, and I've actually knocked on neighborhood doors throughout my entire community, many of them are wanting to live close to base. Why? Because we recently had a COVID pandemic where they would rather be home to be with their child. Their bus doesn't show up on time, so they have to drive their child to school. And in addition, if you have a healthcare issue where you're living with seniors or other people in your family, you want to live closer to base. And again, I could go through a whole bunch of other listed reasons, but I wanted to make sure this is clear. And I think there's another misconception that kind of bothers me. The county council that sit before us in 2010 actually passed a BRAC mixed-use bill. They knew this was coming, and it's been on the record since then, and there's only been 1 or 2 projects that have been listed. So the BRAC zone currently already exists. It's not something that's being created. It is being changed, and I mentioned to you why. I keep getting, why is the bill occurring? Because that green zone, even though it has 1 million square feet, has a lot of people connected to it. And I'm just going to say this. I want to thank the active duty military and civilians that are protecting us right now. And I want you to remember that when we're making these decisions, because they live in our community. They're the ones who are serving right now to protect us, particularly what's going on in our world. And that's why this bill is coming forward. Again, there's management decisions, but I just want you to think about that as we have these discussions. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Ms. Lacey. Ms. Lacey, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to add a couple of points to what Mr. Pruski said, and I'm trying very hard not to duplicate anything he said, but one of the misunderstandings about this bill from, I think, pretty much the moment that we introduced it is that it is somehow allowing this high-density residential use to be allowed in all sorts of areas where it wasn't allowed before, and that is absolutely not true. The bill takes a countywide conditional use that applies in C4, W1, and the mixed-use districts.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, Ms. Lacey. We've detected a smell of something that may be burning in the chambers, and so we would like, I guess, to ask our officers to take I don't know, walk around and see if they can identify anything. And actually, let's take, the council take a brief recess. Let's see, it's...
Point of order, can we just remove the individual that's dressed inappropriately with signage, as we already quoted the rule for that 106, and I think that might solve all of our problems this evening.
Madam Chair, the
I-
last time this happened, we took a recess, so that the chair and Madam Secretary.
Let's clear the chambers.
All right, we will clear the chambers. The council will be in recess, and we will come back as soon as we are able.